Welcome to the Personal Development Mastery Podcast. I'm Agi Keramidas, and my mission is to inspire you to grow, stand out, and take action towards the next level of your life. I interview leaders, authors, successful entrepreneurs, spiritual teachers, exceptional people who will inspire you to improve your life. Tune in for 2 episodes each week and make sure you subscribe to get them as soon as they are released. In today's show, it is my real pleasure to speak with 𝗵 Barrett. 𝗵, you are a world-renowned social media marketer and international speaker and trainer, having taught around the world. You are a best-selling author and you have been in the marketing and business game as an entrepreneur for over 17 years. You are named as one of Australia's top social media marketers, and you're passionate about helping service-based businesses and entrepreneurs generate more engagement online, leads, and most importantly, sales. 𝗵, welcome to the show. It's a delight and a privilege to speak with you today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
I'm very much looking forward to it, and I want to squeeze, I was telling you earlier, as much as I can, as much value as I can out of it in this short time we have together. I already shared a little bit of a very short introduction, but in terms of giving us a bit more context to this conversation we're about to have, do you want to share some maybe key defining moment or perhaps what led you to go into marketing in the first place?
Sure. So ever since I was young, I always kind of observed businesses, and I was always curious as to what made businesses stay around, what made businesses shut down, because you could go to the best restaurant, have an amazing experience, enjoy it. And, when you're younger, you don't really kind of notice, well, how many people are in here versus how many staff there are, how much are we spending versus how much it's costing them and things like that. Mm-hmm. And, we would eat, enjoy ourselves. And then a few weeks later, a few months later, that store's gone. Or you go in and you go to a shop and you buy something, and then, 6 months later, that store's gone. What was the difference between those businesses and the businesses that have been around for a long period of time, that always are there, that always have people coming back? And one of the things I picked up when I was very young is that, well, sales and marketing have a huge part to play. So if you can't bring people in that are interested in your products and services, and then you can't actually have a conversation with them and feed them or clothe them or give them the information or the products that they need, you'll never be able to grow your business. So that's something that I observed when I was very young. And I was like, well, if I can help businesses and help people get in front of more people, get more of the right person coming to them, then surely I should be able to help them grow as a byproduct of that. So that's what really kind of attracted me to the field of marketing, management, all those sorts of things when I was younger. I went to university to study it because I thought that was the path to go down. But I very quickly learned, what made businesses kind of work, what made them not work. And one of the big ones was, bringing in new clients and customers every day. And that's what really attracted me to marketing and online marketing, because I really loved playing around on the internet. As a kid, I would always try and kind of wait till my parents go to bed, and then I go back up and connect up the dial-up modem, plug it back in, turn it on, and it would, make those sounds. And probably the younger people might not remember them, but it's like you had to do it. And then someone comes out, grabs the phone, and then it disconnects you. All the joys of that sort of time. Yes. So I would always wait till about 9 o'clock when my parents would go to bed, and I'll come back out and connect the modem back up, turn it on, dial it up, and just spend time just searching around the internet. Finding out things, and that's when I really started then diving into the world of online marketing as well.
You said something earlier which reminded me of businesses not marketing and selling and closing as a result. And you reminded me of that phrase that says that if you build it, they will come. Some people assume that just by building something which is great or extraordinary even, that will ensure business. So what would you say to someone stating something like that all I need to do is build it? Great. I
mean, you look at even the greatest people, and people say, like, for example, like Tesla and Elon Musk, they're like, oh, but they don't do any marketing. They don't have a marketing department. And it's like, well, I would argue the fact that they do. Like Elon Musk is a one-person PR machine and marketing department, right? But for small businesses, if you just open the doors, like how can you expect someone to want to come down and purchase something from you if they haven't heard about you? To me, that's the biggest mistake we can make. And it's like, you may be able to scrape by some level of success, some level of growth, but it's unpredictable. And for me, my pure goal for businesses, small, large, doesn't matter, is to help them bring the predictability back into growing their business. Mm-hmm. Because if you cross your fingers, and you can see there's not a green screen behind me, this is a real street, this is the background of my office. If I'm just waiting here every day, I can't control how many cars or people walk past me. It's impossible. I cannot control that number. But online, I can control of the pool of people that are online on a daily basis, based on how much money I'm willing to spend. I can control how many of them see my message, because Facebook has been around so long, Instagram's been around so long, as have all the social platforms. They know on a daily basis, XYZ number of people log on. And for me, if I'm looking to purchase ads, doesn't matter if I'm spending $1 a day or $1,000 a day, I'm going to get a portion of those people see my business, my message, what I'm about, and my products and services. That's predictable. Mm-hmm. Yes, there's some problems. Sometimes Facebook ad accounts get banned and all that sort of other craziness that happens as just the cost of doing business online. Yes. But generally speaking, it's like I can pretty much predict that. So for me, that's the difference. It's like, if you build it, they will come, but in how long? It's like, and how long can you wait? That might be true, but it's like, can you sustain yourself for 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, and sustain your family for that period of time to help them? Most people, if you're starting a business, you're probably, similar to us, where it's maybe you're bootstrapping, you're just starting out, you're like, cool, I make the money, I spend the money, I do the work, I help the clients, I send them the products, and then it just keeps going like that. So it's like, if you're just like, I'm just going to wait for them to come to my website, to call me, to go past my shop, it might take 6 months, a year, 2 years for that to be a byproduct and happen. So, by all means, if you have all the money in the world just sitting in the bank account, no problem. Build it and they will come. Sure, no worries. But for most of us, small businesses, we've got to get out there and, make things happen. So that's why I believe advertising and marketing is the more predictable way to go about that. Thank you for that answer. And
it's good to get this opinion. Obviously, for most is wrong, but there are people that believe that truly. And actually, I wanted your comment on another phrase as well, Kim, which is about marketing. It's a definition of marketing I heard somewhere, and it says that marketing is simply attracting those people that you want and repelling those that you don't want. So, from your perspective, how does that sound as a definition?
I would say that's not necessarily marketing. I think that's like copywriting's job, which is like a subsection of marketing, if you want to kind of chunk it down a little bit. So for me, it's like, marketing is about building awareness on a big scale in my eyes. And then you have subsections of that, which is like advertising, copywriting, and it could be in direct response form or otherwise. I think that copywriting, if it's a print-based, or it's in copywriting, if you write a script and you articulate it on video, that does have the job of repelling those you don't want and attracting those that you do. Because in an ideal world, unless someone has read something, you probably don't necessarily want to repel them if they don't know what the business is about yet. So that's the only kind of like caveat I would say on that statement, but I would say it's pretty close to accurate.
It was the choice of word repel that made an impression on me when I heard it. It's a rather strong word, but so Kim, I would like to focus the conversation a little bit more towards the small business owner today, or the solopreneur, if you want to call him like that. And even though I know you've worked with at a very high level with people like Gary Vaynerchuk and Reese Witherspoon. But if we take it down to this level of people who are at the small business level, looking up to scale, Can you tell me, first of all, what do you think is a common or the common mistake that most people do at that level and it's easily avoidable?
It's at every level. The most common mistake everyone does. So it doesn't matter if you're a small business, big, it's exactly the same, which is that people don't focus on a niche, or niche for the Americans that might listen, right? So most people will put out a generic message because they think that as we said before, they don't want to repel people. They don't want to put people off. They want to attract everyone. Because if I attract everyone, I'll make more money, make more sales. That's because everyone sees it. Now, that couldn't really be further from the truth, because especially on social media, we can be so specific. There's been documentaries written about and filmed about how much of the data they have and they use that we have access to, right? Mm-hmm. So for a lot of people, that's a problem. But if you're a small business in marketing, it's a benefit, because you can be so specific. You can really laser target your message and speak to one specific person. Mm-hmm. So a marketing campaign should always have a niche in mind, should always be focused on something specifically, because one person is going to have a different problem and a different perceived solution to that problem than another. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter if there's a building over here behind me and there's a guy similar age, similar person to me, interested in marketing. We both have different problems. We both have different solutions that we're looking for. So the job of advertising, especially direct response advertising, is to speak to me and that specific problem that I have. So now that we have all of that data available to us, especially as small businesses, we can really be laser targeted in our message, rather than try and put something that's generic in case if you go back, 20 odd years where you'd be running a TV ad, if you could afford it because they're expensive, a radio ad, same thing, billboard ad, same thing. Again, maybe you could get a newspaper ad in there, but we had to be very generic because 10,000, 50,000 people are going to read it, and we're hoping that the person who is ideal for us is going to read it, and then they'll respond or give us a call. Mm-hmm. Whereas now we can flip that around and be like, great, let's attract exactly the person who we want, speak to them, speak to their problems, and bring them into our world through the power of the internet. Mm-hmm. So it just means that we can completely flip things around, but most people are still stuck in the mindset of, I need to appeal to everyone. So that's why it's the biggest thing everyone does, not just small businesses, is forget about that. They're just trying to appeal to the general population rather than really narrowing in on that one person.
Mm-hmm. And when you say narrowing down your niche or needs, how much specific do you need to get? I mean, sometimes I hear you have to name the avatar and really speak to him as it's a real person. Are we talking about this level of detail?
As detailed as you can get. Imagine that even if you were going around to their house at nighttime and you were putting on binoculars and you were looking through their windows and you can go, okay, I can see what he's watching on TV tonight. I can see what he's had for dinner and what newspapers he's reading. Mm-hmm. That level of depth. Because we do have the ability to hone in on those things. Now, I'm not saying that if someone else comes to your business that falls outside of that spectrum that you can't work with them. Of course not. We still want to, if people come to us and we can help them and our product is right for them, they can work with us. But from an advertising campaign perspective, we ideally want to make sure that we have that real specific person that we're talking to for that ad campaign to make it a success.
Mm-hmm. It's what they say, what you said about the binoculars reminded me of that phrase, to live inside the mind of your ideal customer.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Kim, let me ask you something slightly different, take the direction a little bit different. I read somewhere you wrote, or I think I heard it. You said you can only grow your business to the extent you can grow yourself. And I very much agree with this, but I want to kind of bring together the business side and the personal development side, and how many people focus solely on business development, on all doing skills to grow their business, but not necessarily the other side. So what's your thoughts on this? situation.
It's hugely important. I wish I could claim the credit for saying that. I can't remember where I heard it from, but I wish it was one of my original thoughts there. But I mean, if you just think about when you grow a business, right, and you're starting out by yourself, as soon as you start to add on a team member or two, then you become responsible for them, then you become responsible for paying taxes, then you become responsible for making sure that they have a space to work. Then suddenly, you know, they've got a family, you're responsible for making sure that they earn enough money so that they can feed their family, plus your family, plus any partners you might have, plus the responsibility to the rest of your family, plus you have to go out there and, you know, make sure that you exercise, eat right, you know, you're doing all these things. It can become a very big burden. Now, if you don't go through the personal growth where you can learn to anticipate these things coming, where you can learn how to alleviate levels of stress, where you can kind of easily let go of problems that might happen because you could have a disgruntled client or customer come in and abuse you and say all these bad things about you. And then the next second, you've got to turn around, smile, and then talk to your team, or smile and talk to a new prospective customer. You're going to be able to do all of these things, which if you don't have, like if you just have the skill set, can be a tremendous burden on you if you're not able to learn how to roll with these things, how to flow and how to adjust. And what happens if you have a bad month? Because similar to life, there's seasons, right? There's nothing can ever be tremendous forever and ever and ever. That's the beauty of life, is that you have the polar opposites. You know, you have some things that are just okay, but then you have things that are great, and you can have times which are bad, which is they're going to be the same in business. But if you can't navigate those things, you know, I liken it to if you were a captain of a ship, and it's like, great, you can know how to steer a ship and row a ship. Like, let's just say it's a rowboat, right? We can know how to steer it and we can row it. That's our skill set. But when you see the dark clouds coming in because it's a storm, what happens next? Like, that's your ability to understand yourself, understand the ocean, understand all of these things going on around you, which only can happen as a byproduct of you focusing on yourself and developing yourself and really, you know, delving into that world. Because it's I've never spoken to or worked with someone who was successful in their business that hasn't done some form or shape of personal growth and development. Even if they don't know it, it might not be labeled as personal development, but like the experience of running a business, like I mentioned at the very start of this little sector here that we're talking about, that is going to be personal development. You have to develop yourself personally to successfully grow through it. And as you do that, if you can realize and go, cool, this is a learning experience for me, amazing, and keep going, then they always, like a great saying I heard is like, you don't fall to the lowest level. What's the phrase? It's like, you don't fall to the lowest level of your training. Because people are like, I'm going to train hard, right? You fall to the lowest level that you are prepared to fall to. So it's like, if you've done that and you've done all that preparation, from that point on, you set yourself a new standard, and that's where you'll kind of operate from, and then you'll have more growth that comes at those extra levels. But that's kind of the flow that I see it, and I know I've personally experienced it in businesses. Like probably the craziest thing you can ever do is be a solopreneur and grow and have a business. Most people, if they saw what we got up to, they'd be shaking their heads and going, you know, you're a crazy person. What are you doing running a business and doing this and working that amount of hours and that amount of stress? Surely not. But, you know, that's what we entrepreneurs, business owners, solopreneurs, that's what we do. We're a little bit crazy, you know.
Hi, it's Agi here, interrupting you with something you may find useful. The most frustrating feeling is when you're trying to focus, but you can't get your brain to concentrate and zone in on the important work in front of you. This happens to me all the time, especially on the days I feel I have too many different things to do. And if it happens to you, you are not alone. 40% of people say they have to make a big effort to concentrate. This isn't some minor thing, but if you're having trouble getting focused, I have a solution for you. I'm so excited to be partnering with Brain FM. Brain FM is a great app, and I use it to block out my mental chatter and zone in on my number one priority of the day. Brain FM uses functional music, which is backed by science and research, and it is designed to give us that extra edge when we need our undivided attention. But they also have relaxation, meditation, and deep sleep modules that help you unwind and recharge. So if you want to be able to place your full attention exclusively in the activity you choose, whether that's meaningful work or relaxing or getting high quality sleep, right now, Personal Development Mastery Podcast listeners get 20% off Brain FM subscription at brain.fm/Agi. That's an amazing deal for such a great app. Thousands of people have given 5-star reviews to Brain FM. Find out why. brain.fm/Agi. Yes, absolutely. And we have to manage what you're saying, our response to any external event which we don't have control over, but we have control over how we will respond. And the more someone goes on a personal growth journey, the more they understand that and they are able to actually practice it and do it. So, most of the times anyway. Chance given, Kim, with that, what is your definition? What does personal development mean to you?
I think anything that stretches the bounds of either your comfort or your knowledge. So I still think everything I do in business is personal development for me. It stretches my mind on what's possible, and it stretches me into situations where I may not want to do things. The old comfort zone, as people want to call it. It's like, well, yes, it is a comfort zone, but it's more so an acceptance zone. It's like, I accept things that happen in this area, and if they go outside of that, it annoys me, frustrates me, freaks me out, makes me happy, upset, whatever it might be. But my goal is to grow the level of things that I can accept and work within. If you look at people that run countries and presidents and prime ministers and things like that, it's like they have to get to learn to accept and deal with many, 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 many different things on a daily basis. The only way that they can do that is by growing their zone of acceptance and going, cool, all right, we're having a nuclear crisis with North Korea today. Okay, like I accept that, and let's deal with it, and let's get the answer. So that to me is kind of the in a nutshell the definition of what I put on personal development. Something that's going to push you and pull you outside of the homeostasis that you might be in.
It's a great, and I like very much what you said about the acceptance zone, because the tone of the phrase is different than the comfort zone. They might represent the same thing, but for me it has a different color when I say acceptance zone. So thank you for that. Let me ask you a couple of hypothetical quick fire questions. One is, if you could go back and meet your 18-year-old self, what one piece of advice would you give them?
I like this question. I have a cheeky answer, which is
good.
Go buy lots of Bitcoin. Go buy all of the Bitcoin and just hold on to it. The more serious answer, that would be what I would say though. But the more serious answer would be more so along the lines of, it's just like listen to advice of those that have done it before faster. So I've paid for a lot of mentors, listened to a lot of mentors, and sometimes you're like, but, oh no, like, I think I can figure it out, or I can get through this. And it's like, no. Just listen to the people that have already done it and listen to them fast. Then you'll have much cruisier journey through your business life.
That's a solid piece of advice. And let's say you had a magic wand and wave it and change something in the world as it is today. What would that be?
Many things. I would enable everyone to have the best ability in the world that exists to come up with creative ideas. The reason being, I think if like creative ideas is all that is needed to pretty much solve any problem. Because I was going to say, like, we could, get rid of wars, we could get rid of famine, we could get rid of these things, we could get rid of sex trafficking, anything like that, right? If we could wave a wand, like, by all means, I'd love to get rid of all those things. However, and if we get rid of one problem, a new problem will occur. But if everyone can, because when I look at it, I see people, for example, that are like homeless in the street, and they're standing there with a sign. And it was like, well, if that was me, I always think about, if I was that person, what would I do? How would I do things differently? So rather than do that, I would be like, hey, like, anything you want, I'll do it for $20 an hour. Or anything you want, I'll do it for food, shower, and a place to stay tonight. I will do whatever you want. Because to me, if that's a different way that I could approach that situation, rather than being like, I'm homeless and I need these, and I like, please donate money because this is what's happened to me. Or I would be very specific in what I can do. I would go around like the building areas and be like, hey, I'll just go knock on their door and be like, hey, for $10, I'll come in, I'll empty all those bricks over here, whatever you want me to do with them. All I want is some food and some water and maybe a shower. Done. Like, I could go around and do those things. So I think if people could get more, and that's a very broad brushstroke for homeless people, so please don't think that I'm saying that that's all they need to do. But if people come up with more creative ideas, then I think that the people that are having problems, if they could always think like that from a point of creativity, they could help themselves get out of problems. But as well, globally, if everyone was able to think very creatively about outcomes, about ideas, I think we could solve a lot more problems a lot faster, rather than, because it's like, there's always going to be problems. So like, why don't we all just become great problem solvers so that we can get through them faster, eradicate them faster as well.
This thing about the creative ideas is something that I could easily talk with you for half an hour on its own. So I will, it's completely fascinating. Emerging from this conversation we had, if you were to give to the listener one actionable item, something they can take away and implement, what would you tell them?
I think it would circle back to the advice that I would give myself, which is on the point of listen to people that have already done things, and ideally keep one voice. So if you listen to podcasts and you listen to people that are empowering you with personal development, just listen to this podcast and apply the things that you hear, and you will have utmost levels of success. I can pretty much guarantee it. Because it's like the thing where most people fall down is on follow through, is on implementation. So if you hear something and say, my thing I said I would do is listen to people that have already done it and apply it faster. If you just did that, you would have more success, guaranteed. But if you listen to every single episode of this podcast and you listen to every single person that's come on and given advice and shared their wisdom, and you did everything that they did, like there would be no stopping.
Fantastic. What's the best place for someone to connect with you, Kim?
Probably on Instagram or Facebook. You can find me at Real Kim Barrett, REAL Kim Barrett, RRTT. That's where I hang out, and yeah, you can shoot me a message anytime if there's anything that sparks your interest out of today's conversation. Flick me a message. 99% of the time, I get back to people pretty quickly, and yeah, more than happy to chat and help wherever I can.
I want to thank you very much for this conversation and for your time, Kim. I think there were some invaluable lessons there to be taken. All the best with you and your mission. Last parting words?
Focus and implement, everyone. Just do that and you will have an amazing life.
I hope you enjoyed listening, and I have a question for you. How would you like a blueprint to your personal development? If you sometimes think that there are so many different things out there you could do for your personal growth, but you're not sure on where to start or what's the next best step, if you'd like a blueprint to help you take control of your personal development, your focus, habits, confidence, and ultimately your time and energy, then you will love my online course, Essential Personal Development Blueprint. The link is in the show notes, or type bit.ly/AGIS AGIS course. And until next time, stand out, don't fit in,